Oh,
drugs.
bless you.
Oh.
So Sam's had her COVID vaccine and has had a really, really rough night.
Yeah.
Bless her. But she's here anyway.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, John.
Well, yes, Tom, there will be champagne this evening. It's Saturday.
That was his hi too.
Oh, I think I've got Arthur here. You want to say hello? Hey.
Aww.
Oh, charming. Oh, dear. Okay. Oh, no. Now I've missed it. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. I'm sorry. My thing's falling apart. Just give me 1 moment. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to try and carry the session a little bit for Sam. So you just chip in as and when you want to and continue with the puppy cuddles, which are always good. Amazing. So we are talking about routine today. We put it to a public vote, and yeah, routine was a big one. Oh, my camera. And it's something I think that a lot of people struggle with, routine and scheduling. I think it's all interlinked with goals and habits and everything as well. But it's just so important because we are creatures of habits, and it's so important to have a good routine. And what I found, I think the most stress that has come about for me is when I've pushed on with a routine that's not working. And I think that the biggest thing for me was realizing that good routines don't necessarily last forever. You know, and you need to kind of change them up because our environment and our world around us is always changing. So pushing on with the same routine and getting frustrated when you're not getting the results that you were getting before is just silly. And what I've learned to do is sort of step back, reassess, and then see what's going to work in this situation. So I think, yeah, the other main thing is boredom as well. When I get too comfortable in a routine, it kind of stops working. And we could sort of liken this to workouts in the gym. You know, you can have great workouts and, you know, you're growing, and you're feeling good and you're seeing the results. And then after a while, your body just gets used to it, and it stops working. And I think the same thing happens with routine. What about you, Sam? Like, how do you feel about routines? Do you change yours up a lot, or are you quite...
I don't function well without a routine. My life kind of goes to shit if I don't. And I think when you mentioned that actually about training, is that I actually mentioned that this week with my coach, just because, yes, we have obviously been in the gym at some point, but practically all the training sessions that I've done at home have been the same thing for nearly a year now. So we've, you know, for me, it was making me not enjoy being in there. I've not, you know, especially like sessions now, I'm like, I just can't be arsed. I just don't want to, because it's the same old. So this week, you know, I've been sent over some new training programs, which again, because of the change, I kind of like, sometimes I have like a bit of a paddy and a hissy fit, but I know that that's just my survival brain just kicking off because it doesn't want change. But I know that it'll generally be a good thing to get me back into the swing of things. So yeah, for me, knowing when a routine's been stagnant and knowing when to put new parts of a routine in play to get you where you want to be, because, you know, ultimately, does it need completely overhauling? Sometimes not. It's just a case of a few minor tweaks sometimes. And those few minor tweaks can then obviously have that compound effect to actually start getting things back moving where you want them to be.
Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes you just need to like stop everything and let your body and your, like, whatever comes naturally, let your body kind of decide and reset itself in a way, I think. And I often do that with my morning wait times and going to bed as well. Sometimes I just let my body, when I'm able to, and I don't have things to specifically do, is let it naturally kind of reset itself, and just have a bit of a break from it. And on that note, it's so important, and this was something I really struggled with working in events, is taking like proper time off and having a day or two off fully to signal to myself that it was okay to relax, because I always had stuff going on, because events were always happening on the weekends, but Monday to Friday I was still, you know, in the office as such, working, and even if I wasn't necessarily doing anything, I'm still switched on, and that just drains, you know, that just drains energy. So it's been a bit of a, well, the pandemic has not been a blessing in any way, particularly for me, but you know, there are some things in there, and I think being able to segregate my weekends, and I think that's been so important for a lot of us to do, because we need to somehow separate the days from the days, right? Because we're not really we're not going out and marking them with anything particular that's going on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think, you know, when people at work ask me what I'm up to this weekend, and it's like, obviously I can't say too much because obviously it kind of conflicts with contracts of being employed, but I'm like, oh, I'm just still busy, I'm still in here, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, just working, doing stuff that's not work related. But yeah, I mean, it just ends up being me in here. I mean, luckily on the weekend, that's the part I actually love doing, so for me it doesn't feel like it's a chore. But I do recognise the fact that, you know, times like this, having this frigging jab, for example, it won't have fared me better, the fact that I do work solid pretty much 7 days and don't let myself have that rest, and then this sort of thing exacerbates more than it needs to do. So yeah, it's to my own detriment sometimes that I'm saying, I just feel like I don't always like taking the time off, because it's a time off from the stuff I love that then suffers, rather than obviously being employed still, which hopefully won't be too much longer.
And on that though, and I think this is another big one for a lot of people, and it has been for me, it's when when you're not clear on where you're going, and you're lacking the vision, and then you're therefore lacking the clarity, and your routine is there to kind of sustain you and keep you on track to wherever you want to go, even if that's just literally getting through the day or getting through the week. But not having a clear path in mind, and I don't want to say goals, because it's not like you have to be charging towards something all the time, but having that perspective and knowing where you're going and knowing where you're heading helps you to keep on track with your routine, and also design your routine to support you in that direction. If you don't know what direction you're going, then you're not going to be able to support yourself the best way to get there, because you're going.
Yeah, and doing little bits of stuff that are really unnecessary, like when you actually take a step back and look at someone's, like with some of my ladies, I get them to actually plot out what they actually do every single day, Monday to Friday. When they're, you know, if they tell me that they don't have time to do something that they're asking me for their help with, if I want to get to this body weight, say, but I don't have time to exercise, I don't have time to come and do my step count, I don't have time to prep food. Just like, well, right, let's map it out, actually see what you do, and let's see where we can actually start chunking these things together to make things more efficient and more effective, and bolting things onto the back of each other, because there is always time. And I think it's just a case of knowing, like you say, having those priorities of what that goal is if that goal is strong enough and well planned out and clear and vivid enough, then priorities, they become a non-negotiable if you'll fit them in, because it's important to you. And it's only when people start setting these goals that aren't really their goals, and they're more like I need to be this weight to feel accepted from society, say, that's when obviously priorities don't always kick into gear, and people struggle then to get to these weight goals because it's not actually that meaningful to them.
And I think we touched on this last week, didn't we, in self-sabotage and procrastination, and that realization when you're not doing something and you're trying to force yourself to do it, and, you know, we like routine, I don't have the time to fit it in. It's like, it's just not that important to you. Accept it and let it go. It's obviously not, it's someone else's stuff that you feel like you ought to be doing or ought to have. And it's not for you, because you're right. You'll make time for it if you really care.
Yeah.
And if you really want to get there. And I think routines make things automated. That's what they should be doing. You know, once you're in a routine for a while, you just build automated like habits. And I mean, I've just been cooking, well, I currently am cooking up like turkey bolognese, about 10 portions of it. You know, but batch cooking food, and I've said it before about food prep, you know, it's just getting that on automation. And I think with your routine, think of the things, what regular decisions do you have to make each day? Like with exercise, when to exercise or not, well, should I exercise, should I not? food? What do I eat when I want to eat it? See if you can automate those things. Even personal hygiene and showering and stuff like that. I mean, your basic routine is taking care of your basic needs at the basic level, and that frees you up to get on with stuff. So sometimes people think, oh, routines, mundane and boring, and it traps you, but it doesn't. It does the opposite. It takes care of all the stuff that you waste energy, usually on a subconscious level, thinking about, so that you're therefore free to focus on things and do some creative.
That do need your time and attention.
Forward planning, absolutely, yeah. And I think, self-care, I really hate the word or the term. It just is just a bit of an odd one. I think we can find another name for it. And I think because it's like a buzzword as well, but making sure that's in your routine, because that's the other thing that's the first to go when we're busy. We always prioritize other people, our careers, just other things above ourselves, because we feel like we can just handle it and get through. But we do ourselves a massive disservice by not paying attention to ourselves and not booking that sort of self-care activity, whatever that looks like for you, because it looks different for all of us. And making sure that's in the routine there somewhere. So I'd say, with basic needs of food, even not preparing your food, just planning out what you're going to eat, and just planning all that kind of in advance, or where you're going to be if you're going out to eat. Probably not so much now if in the UK with everything shut. And also with exercise, when you're going to exercise and at what point in the day. And my own routine, I always play around with it a little bit. As I said, things don't work. Things will work for a while and then they'll stop working. I'm definitely a morning person. I like to get up early because that's just, I'm fresh headed, I'm clear thinking, I can get stuff done a lot quicker. But sometimes putting my work out there, which I find very easy to do because I enjoy it, is actually a waste of that time, because if I have like a really big project that I need to get done, so what would be better is I jump straight out of bed and get straight onto that project. Whereas other times, and I did this for a pretty long period actually, back in like September time, I just needed to sit and journal in the morning because I just had so much stuff. So I needed to get it off, like process it. And it took like a month for me to do before I could get on with my day, because otherwise I wasn't starting my day correctly. I had all this like baggage. And it sometimes, it's not just writing it down and then it's gone and done. You need to keep revisiting that each day until you're in that place where you can start your days without having to remind yourself of things or process your thoughts. So again, with journaling, that was in my morning routine. It's not now. I did a bit this morning because it's Saturday and I'm chilled. And I just thought I'll just do a check-in. So I might do a bit once a week. But I just know there's a lot of like videos on YouTube where a lot of people are like, this is my morning routine and this is for like optimal power output for the day. You must do X, Y, and Z. And that's not the only way to start the day. The best plan, the best routine is, the one that works for you and the one that you can stick to and that fits in with your life and that fits in with the way you work, I think.
Yeah, I think that the whole 5 a.m. club book kind of triggered the whole, you have to do X, Y, and Z, obviously at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to be successful. And it's not. It's like, that might completely not work for your life. So why push yourself into something that if it doesn't suit and serve a purpose, it just seems to be for the sake of the hype. But
everybody loves to jump on a bandwagon. It's like, 5 a.m. club. I'm part of it. I'm part of that. I want to be part of something.
Yeah, that belonging, that sense of wanting to be. But no, I think in terms of like, I agree with the journaling thing. I used to do that quite a lot, and now it gets to the point where actually, because you get so much into that routine of doing it, a lot of it can just be in my head now. I don't feel the need to actually get it all out there. And then planning for me as well. So like on a Sunday night of literally going through my diary, and I will block out chunks of time as to where I need to get everything done, and right, what are my non-negotiables? What are my top 3 priorities each day that I'll obviously do in the morning that then fit in amongst obviously all the stuff that I've already got planned. And then training wise, for me at the minute, yes, stuff goes over. So I have like I do have contingency plans to get things in. Right, I'll train here. This is the intention to train this day, this day. And if it didn't work, I'm like, well, I know that I can do that day, that day, that day. It's a case of, you know, it's chopping and changing, but I know that it's at some point it's got to get done. And then if you know, if I don't do all 4 and I only do 3 that week, I mean, obviously I'm not in prep right now, so smack my dog. Oops, sorry, fella. So yeah, I don't get too het up on stuff like that right now because it's not, for me, that is not the priority. At the minute, my health's the priority, and making myself push myself through hard training sessions at the minute actually is against my health. So for me, it's like I say, it's things are always changing. It depends where you're at. So yeah,
it's getting good at adapting and just listening to your needs and meeting them. I think well, I certainly have done in the past, and I think there are quite a few people that are good at stuffing down their own needs and thinking they'll just, you know, they'll go away or fix themselves, and they generally don't. They'll come up later on, whether it's the following week, unless you listen to what your body is telling you and do as your body tells you.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of times I've done that and wake up, generally on a Friday, I wake up feeling rough. And I know it's because I've just pushed myself too hard in that week and not giving myself time out for like the last couple of weeks or so, which then obviously rolls into doing what I love on a weekend. So definitely taking like Sunday afternoons for me, my like stop replying to clients as much and a bit of a time out.
Yeah, telling myself. But lots of people joining us. Hey, Tony.
Tony, no, I'm not okay after my vaccine. I feel like shit after my vaccine. I've been very ill all night. That's why I look like a mess today. So yeah, it's not been fun. But fingers crossed, it should hopefully pass in the next. I'm hoping before the end of the day because I've got so much to do. But yeah.
Can it wait till tomorrow? Can you move your routine around? Can it wait till tomorrow? Can you swap the days over?
A lot of my clients have said, you know, if you want to just do my check-in tomorrow, then it's fine. But I know what I'm like, and I'm like, no, I just want to get it done today because I don't want that rolling into, you know, actually having some proper day off at least tomorrow as well. So I will get through it. It just won't be as efficient as usual. I've been sat here at the computer and I'm like, why won't my brain just work? Like looking at spreadsheets and I'm like, it's just not working. So yeah.
My brain doesn't work when I look at spreadsheets either. At any time.
I started using a bit of software as well, and it's probably the worst week that I could have chosen to use this software because I'm like, you know when you just can't compute where to find things and how to find it, and I'm like, it's not landed on a good week this week, but I'll get there. It's just going to take me longer, so bear with me, everybody. Yeah.
Tom says morning bath and toothpaste to detox. I think he might be taking the piss, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's still on either.
Is that an ice bath?
Yeah. Sam says 100% agreeing with us, and people are waving hello. Oh, cool. So yeah, I mean, what are your kind of top tips then when it comes to routine?
So for me, it's definitely Sundays map out my week of the non-negotiables. Then each day I have like a top 2 to 3 priorities that have to get done as well. So if that's more work related or any kind of projects, and like say, as well, I suppose it could be step 3. That would be getting the stuff that is more challenging, getting that done in a morning. And like I say, the stuff that you are so used to doing or you enjoy doing is putting that towards the back end of the day because it then seems less of a challenge to do so. So anything that takes a lot of brain power and it's quite, you know, brain intensive, definitely getting that done first thing. Eat the frog again. It keeps coming up, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, for routine is definitely that. And where, especially when prepping, is where you can get some bulk prepping done. Just get it done. It's you know, when you end up, I mean, a few of my ladies work in the police, so when they end up working late overtime, longer than they should do, and they've said like even a couple of them this week of check-ins, like, I'm so glad that I got my food prep done because it just made one less thought process to have to go through when I got back. It's done, it's ready. And also then it takes out that element of the thought process of, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to get Chinese or something instead. So, you know, it kind of veers you back in to make sure you're keeping on track. And, you know, yeah, it doesn't need to be that you're regimentally doing chicken, rice and veg for all your meals. And, you know, we're not talking that kind of bodybuilder food prep. It's my ladies will make foods that they do actually really enjoy and just like say freeze them, like doing like turkey chilies and stuff. and having it there, then it's always just done and just flat back in the freezer.
Absolutely, yeah. Freezers, like mine's pretty well. It's kind of empty now, so I'm filling it up with more bolognese. But it's great, you know, just free stuff. Not everything freezes so well, but just easy, kind of easy, accessible food is great. So mind you, and Tom knows well that I've been eating far too many Snack Jacks than I should be. They're so good. They're too easy to get to as well. You just take them straight out the packet. But yeah, I think with, you know, my kind of tips would be, you know, is going back to that vision and knowing where the hell you're going, and also being okay to change where you're going as well, and, you know, accepting that and kind of, you know, moving things around as and when you need to, even writing like a mission statement or some goals out to look at every morning, just to remind you what is a priority and where you're heading, because it's the world's very distracting. I maybe just am like, oh, squirrel, distracted. So I need to remind myself of these things to keep me on track. Otherwise, I start, you know, I get through this kind of the day and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm really demotivated. I'm like, well, what's the point? What is any of this for?
Yeah.
So that little check-in, it doesn't have to be, you know, take brain power. It's just reading a sheet of paper that you've written out with either bullet points, or you can write yourself like a nice sort of, you know, life mission statement or work mission statement for whatever area. But that's really helpful to remind you, because we feel like we should know these things, but quite often we don't. we forget quite easily because life's busy. Yeah. And I find, you know, starting the day and ending the day in a specific way is really useful. Again, back to like routine and the basic level of organizing things that take brain power thinking about, i.e. when you're going to fit exercise in, when you're going to eat, what you're going to eat, but also what time you're going to wake up and when you're going to go to bed. You know, you might not hit it every single day, but at least you're kind of aiming for that. And I just think we all, you know, babies need that routine, and we all need routine, and all animals need routine as well. So having that kind of, you know, obviously leeway at the weekends, or if your weekend might be on a Tuesday or Wednesday, something, if you work through Saturday and Sunday, whatever your days are, but just setting that, it just sets your body clock. You just kind of on a, you know where you're at, you know, kind of what's coming, and it just promotes organization, I think, within yourself, and security and groundedness. And yeah, I'm just seeing, you know, what, as I said, what regular exercise, what regular decisions that you make on a daily basis, what you can automate, and what you can, what you can kind of form habits around. You know, then there's like habit stacking, isn't there, where you can kind of stack things on top of, you know, stack something that you want to do that you're not doing on top of something that you already do, i.e. brushing your teeth or putting your clothes on or something, or making your bed in the morning, and get that into a habit and get that kind of into your routine so it becomes second nature. So, I mean, there's loads. Routine, I feel, really goes into goals, and it goes into habits, and it goes into kind of all areas. But I just think it's really important that we do have routines. Aren't boring. We do need them, and they look different on all of us. It's whatever works for you, I think.
No, absolutely. It's like, you know, the whole process of filtering that we go through every single day. If we don't have automation there, then life just becomes chaotic, because we're not clear on what we're actually filtering for. And if you think about, you know, the human brain gets 60 to 80,000 thoughts through a day, and you're not sure of which you're meant to be focusing on, then, you know, your head's just going to be a mess. Whereas if we can just automate the correct behaviours that need to be done, then it just makes everything else so much more fluid, and gives you then that more breathing space to focus on what is then important to you, or actually even figure that out, because everything else is taking care of itself.
Agreed. 100%. And it's not about nailing it every single time either. Like, your routine will fall apart every now and again, and sometimes yeah, exactly. You know, things that you can't, things that are outside of your control, but also sometimes your body's just going to say no. Like what we said earlier, it's listening to that and going, do you know what? I need a day, or I need 2 days, or however long it is, with nothing, and I'm just going to see what comes up, and then I can reset, and just take that step back and kind of rejig things around and make things work for me, because at the moment they're not working. Admitting that to yourself, and accepting that is a really great thing to get good at, It's
Yeah,
not feeling.
self-awareness, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
knowing nothing's just not working.
And it comes back down to self-awareness.
Yeah. But can you imagine if we just like did a big, massive like day of a seminar of like the whole loop we'd go through, the whole journey.
Yeah. It's so easily done. It's like, oh, there's a link to here and link to here. We could do a summit.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, cool. Well, let's leave it there. And I know you've got. I think you should just go back to bed personally, and have
I think because I had the jab in this arm, and it literally still now it feels like I checked this morning, like it feels bruised. It feels so sore, but I had like nervous pains going all the way down to like the fingers here all night, and it also was going down into my back. And I usually sleep on this side, so I couldn't. So then I was sleeping on this side, and this hip is now really aching because I'm sleeping on the side that I don't usually sleep on. So I just think being in bed, I think it doesn't make me hurt. I just need to be like wandering around. I need to take Bella for a walk actually, and kind of just have a bit of a stretch out, I think. So
yeah, walk might help. A bit of fresh air.
Yeah, I just feel really lethargic. I just need to get some clear air, just moving. So yeah, training's not on the cards again, unfortunately. But
training can wait.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, all right, lovely. Well, I wish you a speedy recovery, and yeah, hopefully you'll be all right in a couple of days or a day.
Yeah, I was about to say a couple of days.
No, I haven't got a couple of days.
I think we'll be back by tomorrow.
Amazing. All right, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Oh, my mum's saying sorry I'm late. You just got the end, Mum. Thanks for the love heart, Sam. Lovely.
Thanks, Sam.
Cool. All right, guys. Have a fabulous weekend, and we will see you super soon. All right.
See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.